Wembley awaits as the second cup in England this weekend. It is Crystal Palace from London against Manchester City from Manchester in a final that will be played at the Wembley Stadium. For London side, Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs, they will definitely be wanting a Manchester City win. But for Manchester United, maybe a Crystal Palace win so that they can both sit down at the end of the season and say there was no trophy parade for any of the two sides. Back-to-back final for Pep Guardiola's Manchester City against the Crystal Palace side who are just appearing in their third FA Cup final. Football Temple brought to you by Azar Studios. I've got two lovers of amazing football in the studio today. On my left-hand side.
He isn't longer an Arsenal fan again.
No, we're going there. On my left-hand side is Uncanny Sam. Yep. We have a special message for Uncanny Sam. Of course, Mr. Batunde, Biodun, Nonso. But that message will not be released just yet, even though we have cooked the message. For those who are in the production team, they know what the message is about. But we'll release the message at the due time to them. Uncanny Sam joins me on my left, and of course, the man who has gone trophyless by all standard and rights, by what it takes.
But the man that's the most compact team in Europe right now. Mr.
Batunde also joins me in the studio, CEO Biologist Media. It's good to have you join us. How does it feel going trophyless?
Again.
No, well, okay, now close to the show us.
The badge.
Okay, the badge. Yeah. But how does it feel going trophyless? No, in football terms, how do you feel like with your team going trophyless?
We go again next season.
so that's the problem. They go again next season. How do you describe yourself as a football club?
No.
And you go again next season. Okay, Sam, I know you love good football, but
I hate it when we reduce football to just winning. To just trophy.
What is success?
What success is just about trophy. No. Trophy is an important part of, success. But it's not just about trophy.
But it's important.
One of the most important. So the most important, not exactly. One of the most important. The most important.
So if you're not winning it,
success is all encompassing.
Success
is all encompassing. Now, when we reduce sporting success to trophies, then we'll take a lot away from. I'm not trying to agree for us.
You're a lover of the NBA.
Of course I do.
What do you describe as success in the NBA for a team?
For a team that have not been able to make to the playoff, if they get to playoff, for me, they've succeeded.
Then, after that?
Then you progress.
To what?
Probably get to the, what do you call it, conference final.
After that?
Then probably next year you progress again.
After that?
To see. Now, so is a...
Now, you've got 4 years, right?
Cleveland Cavalier fans.
If it is that one, Arsenal started with 2 trophies. Let's put it that way.
1 trophy.
2 trophies.
The competition is not a trophy.
Well, it is. Mourinho counted it as
it's
a
not
trophy.
A trophy.
It's not a trophy.
Almost everybody counted it as a trophy. Almost everybody counted it as a trophy.
Is it a major trophy? Yes or no?
Everybody counted it as a trophy.
It is a major trophy.
How?
Because it is only when it comes to Arsenal that it's not counted as a major trophy.
Is not a major
Mourinho counted it.
Go and check.
Mourinho counted it as a trophy.
Honors list.
No, it will always
Community
be there.
Shield is counted.
It's a trophy.
Okay, when they say a team wins a treble,
you go call conference cup trophy. You want call conference cup trophy?
It's a European trophy. That's a different scenario.
Conference cup is a principal's cup.
Well, we'll have this conversation. But this weekend we'll be looking at the FA Cup final involving Oliver Glasner's Crystal Palace and Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. On paper, it is Manchester City's title to lose, but it is a cup final and you cannot rule it out. Arsenal fans to understand what it means to lose a cup final to a lesser team. Few years ago, of course, Obafemi Martins, smarting with Birmingham City, stopped Arsenal from winning the Carabao Cup.
The
Carabao Cup. Something that Arsenal fans don't want to always remember.
Beyond that, they've gone ahead to win 3.
They want to win 3 FA Cup titles, and they are happy one with Mikel Arteta.
Why are you reminding me of that?
Let me start with you because you're a Nigerian brother. Let me start with you.
My uncle denied me dinner that night.
You know, Manchester City against Crystal Palace. Pep Guardiola, for all of the bad season, might just end up winning something. And you must give kudos to City. Consistency is what it is. 3 years back-to-back FA Cup finals. It's no easy feat. 2023 champions, losing finalists in 2024, and they are back at Wembley once again.
Yeah, we were talking off camera, and I remember I told you that it will be difficult for Crystal Palace, to get past Manchester City as far as this FA Cup final is concerned. You look at every of the trophies that Pep Guardiola has won in his time. at Man City, and he has won 2 FA Cups, and I believe strongly that this should be his third, because every every finger pointing towards Manchester City to win this one, because it's more or less like a David versus Goliath kind of final. And you consider the fact that in as many meetings between Crystal Palace and Manchester City have always prevailed, and even this season in the Premier League, the first installment of their meeting ended 2-2 at Selhurst Park, and we saw what played out at the Etihad Stadium. Crystal Palace did what we call initial gra-gra.
Even though that day,
eventually,
me and Carissa were exchanging tweets. And when Crystal Palace were up by 2-1.
Eventually, it ended 5-2 in favor of the citizens. So this one at Wembley, I expect Manchester City, to try to claim.
Stop undermining this guy. Did you watch City last week Saturday against Southampton?
They were.
You know what I mentioned?
Well,
they were awful.
Did you watch that team?
Cup final.
I understand it's a cup final. So what if we
against the relegated Southampton?
Against the relegated Southampton.
Who are the worst?
Haaland came back.
Who are the worst?
Haaland was there. Whether it was his first time or not. Look, without Haaland, we expect City to.
Without Haaland, Kevin De Bruyne and Mamouche, they should beat
this team.
Southampton is the worst team in the Premier League.
See, football is like this, right? It's just like we're so confident Arsenal is going to beat PSG. I mean PSG, yeah.
Well, I was confident.
Without a doubt, they champion with me, yeah.
And now here is it, right?
Watching City on Saturday, I came to the conclusion that look, this City team is bad, and it's not about. I think Pep has lost that touch, that Midas touch, that everything he touches turns to a goal. Not again. It reminds me of probably a Lewis Hamilton. When he started 2-3 years ago, we're thinking no, it was the car that was bad. Yeah, that was the thing. The car was bad to some extent. The car was slower because you have a faster car. Because he has moved to a car that is supposed to be faster than Mercedes.
It's about him.
So it's about him. The talent isn't there anymore. The same thing with Pep. Pep is an amazing coach, but I feel he has gotten to his peak. I feel the next 4 or 5 years, we're just going to be talking about, he was a good coach. He's not going to be that dominant coach that we've seen. And we begin to see so initially we were thinking, Rodri, no this, no that, no that. So it's not about he has decent players. It's not about, you understand, he has decent players. I mean, you're talking about a man that's paying over 200 million pounds. January, Victor Reis, Mamouche, Gonzalez, and Abdulkadir. Kushanov. Yeah. And there's nothing to shout for. The only thing to show for right now, Arsenal has committed a lot of blunders. But even like that, Arsenal have gone how many matches without winning a game, and they still ahead of City. To tell you the gap that was between Arsenal and City. For the past 4 matches, Arsenal have not won a Premier League match. I think no. Is it 4 or 3?
But if you just
suppose I'm talking about Premier League.
City's last 6 games.
In
they won 5 and drawn just 1.
Even that, so just imagine the gap, because Arsenal drew against Brentford, drew with Crystal Palace, lost to
drew Everton also.
No, I'm not even considering Everton. I'm far. In the last 5 games, Arsenal is there to take the cup victory, and they are still ahead of practically everybody. You understand? So the thing is this with City. See, watching City last week, sincerely speaking, I have my reservation. I feel something is not right about this team.
So
just like the way I have my reservation.
A chance for Crystal Palace this weekend.
It could go either way. It's an open game. That I can say with my chest. I'm not going to say.
Chelsea has been fantastic this season,
bro.
They
are the revelation of the season, and we don't talk about them much. They are the revelation of the season. They've done amazingly well. We keep hammering about Dortmund. We keep hammering about Brentford. We keep hammering about Nottingham Forest. But Crystal Palace have been amazing.
Yeah, Oliver Glasner has actually done it very
well. What's his name? Meteta has not been a bad player at all, despite everything. With him on the field of play, you're always sure that something is going to happen. We'll find a way of scoring, and he was fine. So don't just say with the whole of a chase out, say this game at City or no. City might flop that. We've seen City. What are you talking about? You're talking about a team that finished 22nd in the championship. In Champions League, that were taken to the cleaners by almost everybody. They even make what's his name? Enrique they call the Premier League, Farmers League.
But truth be told, guys.
No, so it's not Babatunde is an open game. It can go either way.
But Man City will still win.
Okay.
My own opinion.
Your opinion.
They'll still win.
Now, since we're on Pep Guardiola, let's talk about Pep quickly. This season, of course, for what it is and what it will be, a man who has dominated England for practically all of his career.
Yeah.
He lost the league title. They struggled in the cup, but regained themselves in the FA Cup, even though largely because the only probably tough team they played was Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth. City never played a tough side in the FA Cup.
Not at all.
They did not face the traditional Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester United.
Struggle against Bournemouth.
And struggled, because those are the only 2 teams they played. Leyton Orient. Those are most of the teams they met.
They came close to losing to one of even these Lolly plays team. I think is it Plymouth?
Yeah,
Is it Plymouth
they had
and
to come back
Plymouth
and win.
and-
Yeah, Plymouth. They had to come back and win. So they've not been superb because I want to know where he's drawing his inspiration from.
Yeah.
Because
Probably-
this is a
probably
team that has not
pedigree.
been superb.
You're
In the
speaking
cup run,
basically on pedigree.
in the cup run, they've also not been superb. They've struggled to get to the final. But kudos, not largely the fact that even a team like the Crystal Palace have also not met a bigger side. But I was surprised that 3-0 win over Aston Villa. Because an Aston Villa side who has gotten to the
Convincing-
quarterfinal
It was a convincing
final
win, yeah.
of the Champions League, and with a chance of getting something, in the cup, and also qualifying for Europe through it, they goofed it, and it was Crystal Palace. With Pep Guardiola's form this season, is this a befitting end to the season, or you feel like it might just be one season where you go trophy?
But anyhow, Pep Guardiola wants to look at it. Whether he wins the FA Cup or not is a failure. Now, if he didn't spend these £200 million in January, I would have said, understood. That was a fire brigade approach. You spent so much. Look, what this guy spent, right? Do you know how much was spent in Saudi League this year? Just £240 million, I think, in buying all the players.
And
The whole
Pep
Saudi League
Guardiola
that we're talking
spent
about.
200 in
You
January
understand?
alone.
Alone.
Then Pep spent 200. How much did Arsenal spend during the summer? So with what he spent in January, winning the FA Cup alone is not even for me. It's not, compared to what, because the truth is this, right? Why are they the bigger side? Because they have more. I mean,
They
a
have
bigger financial chest.
the cash to
They have
to
the cash,
splash.
so
Yeah.
a more is expected from them. Now you can't spend this kind of amount of money, and what you're battling for is FA Cup. Forget about what happened during off season. I mean, during the normal summer transfer. So, regardless of how you want to put it, if he's not going to win the league, for me, with what they've spent, I mean, they bought last.
Well,
And
in all-
we've seen it. See, there's this downward spiral that has been going on for some time right now.
For City.
is
the last two-
Is it
the
safe
last
to
two
say
trophy.
that they're a team in transition?
Well,
In transition, how?
I don't want to agree it's transition
Because
because
Kevin De Bruyne is buying out.
It doesn't matter.
Definitely
no.
some players will have
But,
to
but,
leave
how?
by that
but,
scene
but the
will
thing
They've
is,
gotten-
the thing is, whether I like
They've
it or
gotten
not,
what you want to even go. Funny enough, you might find difficult to get a pound for pound replacement for Kevin.
Even before-
De Bruyne.
okay, but they
But
knew,
there's a certain
but
player
they
from
knew-
Bayer Leverkusen
but
that
they
has been
knew,
linked.
of course, for years
As a
doesn't change
that these
anything.
players will go. City have brought in Grealish, they've brought in Doku to replace players who have left. These guys have not stepped up to the game. So if you are saying that is a transition phase, players who are also brought into the club spent huge amount of money into the club to make sure that when they lost Bernardo Silva, there's somebody who can play on the flank. They've not gotten it. So it has shown that even Phil Foden has not stepped up.
Not at
So
all.
what it is there's not even transition process in City because if Kevin De Bruyne goes, it looks like
Can we say
City,
Phil Foden has not stepped up or his form dipped?
well,
Because there was a
so
time
there's one thing Kevin
everybody
he has not
was
stepped up because
waxing lyrical about
one
Phil
thing
Foden.
that is unanimous with Kevin De Bruyne is consistency.
Consistency.
Yeah.
So if a player is not giving you consistency, he has not stepped up.
Why do you call Messi the greatest? Why do you call what was his name, Ronaldo, the greatest?
Consistency.
Consistency, season in, season out.
They are able
So
to
can you say the
deliver.
same thing about
Phil
that's
Foden.
the issue here?
We cannot
I
say the same thing about Grealish. We cannot say the same thing about Doku.
But
Neither can we say the same thing
for
of the
Grealish,
midfielder that have come
we all
in.
know why he's distracted.
We wouldn't know why. We
No, we don't know why.
expected. What we
He's
expected.
going on that social media post and he's commenting that
Look, you were
Happy
bought-
Mother's Day. Yeah, what
you were
is-
bought-
Extracurricular activities.
You were bought for £100 million. You were bought for
From
£100 million.
Aston Villa.
Yeah, you bought for £100 million.
and it took 1
Bro.
year to score a goal.
What are you talking about?
Just opposite if he was not an English player or he was an Arsenal player. Now,
The noise would have been louder than what you can think
Nicolas
of.
Pepe do in football that he suffered what he suffered compared to what Grealish is doing at City?
I'm sorry to say, for Pepe, it was because it's about the color of his skin.
That's what I'm
No,
saying.
not
I
at
don't
all,
see
not
the
at all.
reason
But it was
why.
not that bad.
No doubt.
It wasn't that
compared
bad.
to Grealish.
He was. Come on, let's
Come
be
on,
frank.
it wasn't
that
that was
bad.
Grealish
He
better
was.
than him?
He
You
was.
put a Nicolas
we
Pepe
want
and
from
put a
Grealish.
Gabriel
See,
Martinelli. I will go for Pepe 100 times.
See, in the attack chase last season, Grealish played a very important role. Now, Pepe came as the most expensive player in Arsenal. I think in Arsenal history.
Yes, 72 million.
75, I think everything put
Okay.
together, £75 million. What are you expected to do? Week in, week out, there should be some semblance of consistency. This guy was far from consistency. Like you said, how many goals did he score in all the season? I mean, all year he stays in Arsenal. Was he given the opportunity? Yes, week in, week out. It was his performance convincing.
But it wasn't
Look,
that
see,
bad.
Now, somebody asked me, what's his name? Odegaard and what's his name? Bruno. I said, look, there is one thing that you can always pick from any of these guys. With Odegaard, you have what we call overall contribution. That work rate, you understand? With Bruno, finishing, you understand? That gives you result. Yeah. So either way, now we can't say any of this thing about what was his name, Pepe. You cannot say that he was contributing so much.
No, he put his head on the ground.
That is it. So you can't even talk about that completely. So don't.
What does Martinelli do?
See, don't say it's the issue of color. No, I feel he was never what that. I think something will happen.
In actual fact, that's my own opinion.
That buy was I think showed it in
Panic buy.
No, I think that was something that happened. That was some for me. Probably fraud or something, because you can't buy such player coming from such league for such amount of money. How many players have been bought from that league with such amount of money?
Maybe Arsenal were trying to push something.
Well,
through Lille. But for Kevin De Bruyne, final bar out, he leaves City. Potentially his final. Well, yes, potentially his final. I don't think he'll be involved in the Club World Cup. I don't know if he will play.
I don't know.
For Manchester
he has
City.
been linked with
many
clubs.
You know, clubs are allowed to bring in new players, so he will be there.
Yeah,
but final trophy on England, so final appearance at the Wembley Stadium.
Absolutely.
Can he win a trophy with it?
He will.
Can he win a trophy with it?
The thing is this, right? Let me before we need trophy, right? Here's simple truth, right? I think they're making a wrong move, leaving him to go. Believe me, if I were Arteta, I would have gone for him. If I were Unai Emery, I would have gone for him. I saw he's different in the last 4-5 matches that they've actually played. Injury alone is not enough. You understand? How old is he? 33. If guys like Salah are getting a new contract, I wonder why he's not going to get it. If guys like Van Dijk are getting a new contract, I wonder why he's not going to get it. I understand the issue of injury, but has he actually deep in form? If you give him 4-5 matches, you see him deliver.
Yeah.
The reason why they are even contending for a place in the Champions League is because of him. Go and take the number of goals that he came. You understand? The performance, the contribution, and everything. So I feel they let him go in the wrong place. Well, I wish him the best. The thing is this: I just pray an English team picks him so that they will live to regret it. In the Premier League.
Well, hopefully an English team will pick him. But predictions are for the FA Cup final.
It's not going to be a one-sided final, but 3-1 in favor of Man City.
3-1 in favor of Manchester City.
Well, let me go to opposite way. 2-1 in favor of Crystal Palace.
Well, 2-1 in favor of Crystal Palace. So we have Onkari Sam who wants a Crystal Palace win at the Wembley Stadium on Saturday.
Because I'm really trying to be sympathetic to your cause. So that you have a reason to talk when you want waiting City win. Waiting City win.
We want a 3-1 win for Manchester City.
We go again next season.
For Arsenal, he said it, and they go next season. Like I said, we have a special message for Arsenal fans. And when that message is finally released, you will love it. Football Temple brought to you by Azar Studio on Kani Sam. I'm about to know in the studio for the FA Cup final preview.